Cool, good stuff. Let's keep going then. So I think I'm on the last one. So I'll give a quick plug for my world's famous or my most the gem Ruby gem that I just think is literally the best in the world. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit about this gem called Lolcommits. So what Lolcommits is it's a way to take selfies when you do a git commit, and it's actually pretty easy to use. So you can scroll down. Here's some example images of different people committing code and looking kind of like miserable and like wearing costumes and stuff. But it's actually really easy. So basically, the gist of it is, well, first, this doesn't work through the Vagrant environment. So if you want to use Lolcommits, you actually can't use the sort of full Vagrant environment setup that we have. Instead, you're going to need to install it on the Mac OS natively. So you'll have to do that. It's pretty easy to install packages with Homebrew, so you can follow this step and run this gem install Lolcommits. Same thing with the Jekyll gem. When the Lolcommits gem is like has a binary or it has like executable, it sort of is a program that you can run within the environment. And basically the gist is after you do a gem install Lolcommits or gem install Jekyll, you need to sort of like repopulate all of the programs that are in your environment. So two ways to do it. One was the way that Collins pointed out. Basically there's this like eval stuff with like rbn init. But the other command you can do is just rbn rehash, and that's if you're using RBN. Our VM, I think, doesn't have this problem at all, so you're not going to need to do that. So basically the gist is you run gem install Lolcommits, you wait for this to go, and then you sort of are ready to go. So you scroll down and basically the details, it's pretty simple. There's a lot of different options. You can basically set it up to have like animated GIFs. There's a lot of different configuration options. You can read up about the specific ones here, but I think I'll just take the default. So basically what you can do is just copy this line of code. You're in like an application directory like I am. You run this command, Lolcommits enable. So this is going to make it so it automatically does this, and it tells us about this like this post commit hook, that whatever that means, but basically it means it's going to do the magic of automatically taking a photo of us when the screen goes off. So I can go to my code, maybe change the README, hello, save the file, jump back into the terminal, standard git stuff, git add all, git commit -am, hello. And now when I do the git commit, it just kind of hangs for a second. It takes a lot longer. So instead of it being like just immediate, it takes a second. It says preserving this memory or this moment in history. And now that image is sort of stored on my computer. So I'm outside of the Vagrant environment. So what I'm allowed to do is I can use open to just open a folder in a directory that I have. And inside my home directory, there's a Lolcommits folder. So I can just do this and it pops open this. And you can see I use it for like the Firehose lessons. There's some test stuff. You can go into the Slurry and you can see the different things that we had here. This is the one that looks like it was being done as I was doing the lightning talk. So if I just kind of pull this into this is, you can see this is the hello and this is me giving the talk and sort of all that stuff. So pretty cool. I wasn't really thinking about it. It just happened, and that's kind of part of the fun of Lolcommits. So in addition to sort of taking these photos, there's a pretty robust plugin library that allows you to so if you just do a search for plugins, there's a full page. So you can spam your friends on Twitter with photos of you. You can sort of change the commit message, make it sort of translated a little bit differently. I built this site, this lolcommits.com page, which sort of is a tracking system. It's actually a little bit broken right now. So if you're excited about sort of contributing to open source, this is a perfect opportunity to fix. So if you go here, basically there's a way to sort of get started, all this stuff. You go to log in and it's, oh, maybe it's fixed. It was broken a while ago, but basically the gist of it is you can go to like different places and you can see here's a bunch of selfies of me just coding along, and it works pretty well if you have teams of people. So if you're working on a team, you can set up like a group of stuff. So this, one of these is like a former, here we go. So these are all my buddies that we're taking selfies with them through that. So if you want to contribute to this, maybe make it look a little bit better. It's not the world's best looking app, but it's certainly the world's coolest app. So that's just a quick 360-degree view of the Lolcommits gem. And I guess to sort of keep talking a little bit more about this stuff, like while this is completely like frivolous and kind of goofy, it actually does show you how to actually, an example of how to use these GitHub post commit hooks and these different Git hooks, which is kind of interesting. So basically, if you type the ls command in the Git folder, you can see there's a hooks folder. If you go to the hooks, basically Git will sort of run these programs at different points. So basically, after you commit, it's going to run this program, which is going to trigger the Lolcommits gem. There's pre-commits, pre-pushes, and these are actually really good if you want to sort of enforce certain stuff. You can have this automatically change like line endings. So if you, like, one person is on Windows, another person is on a Mac, you could just add like a pre-commit hook that just goes in and changes the line endings, automatically converting like tabs to spaces, stuff like that. So there's a lot of actually really useful stuff that these Git commit hooks can do. But this is just kind of a goofy, trivial, like pointless one. But it's also super fun. I love this gem. If you're not using it, you probably should be. So it's just a quick little plug for my world's favorite Ruby gem. Feel free to add plugins to it. Maybe you could post to like, I don't know, like an app that you build, or you could do, the possibilities are basically endless. So that's kind of the gist, and that's all I got. I'm the only person without slides, so I just kind of like rolled with it, and that's that. So does anybody have any questions about Lolcommits? Otherwise, we'll probably jump into sort of more of the breakout sessions.
Dude, I totally have to add that to my blog project.
Oh, Lolcommits integration? I love it. Yeah. And that adds so much to sort of the story, right? Like, you have the code, you have the person, and then you have the selfie of them. It's funny though, because you forget it's off, and then you end up being like, huh? It's like that. So.
What should we contribute to, the actual Lolcommits gem or to lolcommits.com?
All of them. Do all of them and add all of the features. It doesn't matter, right? Like, this is stupid stuff, but it actually kind of, like, if you do even add like a stupid little feature, like, this is a cool conversation starter, right? Like, you're in an interview and they're like, oh, so what have you done? Oh, just a little bit of open source on what? And you're like, oh, Lolcommits. It's like, oh, let me tell you about it. And then you're like teaching them about this like really stupid like thing, and they're like, why would you do this? And you're like, it's super fun, man, and like builds a human connection. So I think just even adding like a small feature, building a plugin, changing around, maybe like this is like, I built the site itself in like an afternoon. It is, I was actually looking at the code, and it's not as bad as I thought it was, but there's tons of support. Like, it doesn't support animated GIFs, so you could add support for that. It doesn't support a lot of stuff. So do whatever you want, but just something. And I'm sure the pull request will either get merged, or there'll be like an interesting conversation that'll be valuable.